All right, expect more sanctuary city protests happening today across the country as they widen this out. But a lot of these protesters have widened their argument from not welcoming President-elect Donald Trump, later President Trump, telling them what to do and threaten their funding, to saying illegals should be granted mass pardons. Former Bush 43 chief immigration lawyer Lynden Melmed. Well, they're upping the ante here. Lynden, where's all this going?
Well, I think it's going to be a volatile few months. President Trump is going to have some tough decisions on day one, and it's going to start with what he's going to do with executive action and the children, the DACA program, and where he takes that program.
Now, it is the law of the land, technically, that you can't have a sanctuary city, but sanctuary cities just look the other way, and I guess over the years so have politicians, right?
Yeah, sanctuary cities is not new. They've been around for a few decades, and it's really a question of controlling the purse strings and what leverage the federal government has to get their assistance.
Does the federal government have leverage there, and has it ever been forced?
Not probably as much as it could have been in the past. It's not necessarily critical to the federal government's ability to enforce the immigration laws. Certainly the state and local participation helps, but they have enforcement tools beyond state and local participation.
I guess it always comes down to sanctuary cities, whether they're shielding or protecting not just illegals, but illegal criminals or potential criminals, bad elements, bad hombres, to quote President-elect Trump. What do you think?
Well, that's something that the federal government always points out, which is if they ask a state and local to hold someone on a voluntary basis and that state and local then releases the individual, well, that's on the state and local authority on that question. I think there's no question you're going to see, this is a polarizing issue, you're going to see an increasing number of cities, states, you're going to see public institutions pushing back on Trump's enforcement agenda. And I don't think that's necessarily going to sway where the Trump administration goes, but I do think it's going to escalate the issue and put it back in Congress's court. Even
though he seemed to dial it back a little bit, talking about 2 to up to 3 million illegals who would be deported, which would be keeping his numbers, ironically in line with this administration's, that it might not be the 11 to 15 million total illegals suspected of already being here.
Yeah, this is a difficult issue for him to moderate his enforcement levels. Unlike in the past, I think if he expands the scope of individuals that are subject to immigration enforcement, it's a new world. They're more socially connected. Many of them have been increasingly part of the community. And so I think those enforcement actions, even if there's no substantial increase in numbers, they're going to be much more higher profile and more public actions, and that's just a different scenario than the government faced 5 or 10 years ago.
Lynden, help me with this. I'm not a lawyer. I know you are, and a very good one. But it would seem to me that if you are bragging about being a sanctuary city, you're not letting anyone doubt that you are, and furthermore, that you'll challenge the president-elect, soon to be President Trump, in enforcing federal law. You've got a potential crisis in the making, because he would be the first president to so aggressively do so. Where's this going to end?
Well, it's new terrain. It's difficult to say where it's going to end. Like I said, I think there's a lot of cities and states which are not just going to be quiet sanctuary cities. They're going to be very vocal about it, and in their locations they have a lot of support. But I do think that the Federal Administration of Immigration Laws has been around. They'll continue to enforce those laws, and you'll see conflicts at the state and local level. But it's not going to be without a pretty significant public debate and really some new legal issues that you raise.
All right. We'll watch it closely. Lynden Melmed, former Bush 43 immigration lawyer.